Hi there and welcome back. Torment, Tides of Numenera. We are exploring possibilities for a foreman robot to have children. We're going to talk with the local robotics expert Min of Tanlia. He's rubbing his temples with grease-stained fingers. The tall priest is nodding at us. Do I have more time to talk about mechanical Numenera? The responsible answer is no, he says, but no one needs me to sign anything right now, so yes, I do. One of the foremen is trying to create offspring, and I was told the Order of Truth could help. Not the master foreman, I hope, he says with a disbelieving laugh. And of him, it is more than enough. This sounds like something that would interest Snurf quite a bit, he says. And when you head back to the underbelly, tell Master Artisan I said hello. All right, that's good. Farewell then. Snurf. This guy here. Probably nodded to him. Slouched before you is a figure clad in dusty, unremarkable robe. Loose folds of rough cloth shift to reveal a vaguely humanoid form with elongated facial features and two elaborate biomechanical arms. You can't help but notice the size, the shape, and even the number of its digits changing as it tinkers with a bizarre-looking device on the table. Glances up at you. Its eyes are the size of your palms. You realize it is a visitant, a being from another world. Greetings, fellow sentient, it says, nodding with studied respect. I will be with you in a moment. Its mechanical fingers contract and dance independently over the surface of the device before it, adjusting and tightening. There, I am Snurf, guest to the Order of Truth. What brings you to my workspace? Didn't quite catch your name. How do you pronounce it again? It says, you are hearing a brief elision of my name correct. A majority of the component syllables are untranslatable or beyond human ranges of hearing. I will try to approximate them. It draws in a deep breath. Snellanarga, with a brief poem about the ambient temperature of dust in moonlight here. Gonthas, the world describes a color similar to blue. Ramalerf. I prefer the name your people hear. My name is all too common, where I come from. All right, cool. Those arms of yours are interesting. How do they function? Yeah, I mean, we're a cool nano. We want to know everything. I'm not quite sure, it says, raising them for your inspection. Extra digits whirl out of the mechanical palms, somewhat nauseating wave, and disappear just as quickly. They seem to be as sentient as either of us, but obedient so long as I keep them busy. Otherwise they scramble about while I rest, touching things, picking locks, strangling the odd rodent. With it in size, I've forced them to take up knitting. Tell me about yourself. Your curiosity honors me, it says, inclining its head. I came through the bloom from another world. To be absolutely honest, I was exiled for inadvertent sacrilege and perversion. I would imagine that you are curious about my people's reproductive processes at this point. That's placidly it. I would happily describe them. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're a nano. The more detail, the better. Certainly, it says, beaming, no detail shall be spared. It's a rather complicated topic, however, so let me know when you're ready to speak at length. Yeah, let's do that. Let's form a bond with each other. Maybe it can help with a foreman. Deprived of the layers of sociological complexity, the process is quite simple, the visitant says. At a certain age, my people ceremonially choose a limb for removal. The limb is grown into a new being, children in your terminology. This is where matters get more complicated. The selected part relegates the child to a caste. Armed children become laborers, leg children become warriors, and head children, due to the sacrifice implied in their creation, become leaders. Snurf studies its metal hands. As I've suggested, the limbs we surrender do not grow back. In fact, those who replace their limbs insult their children and sin against their people. And this is where your biomechanical arms come in, I'd imagine. You're correct, it says. Unfortunately, I surrendered my arms to create my children. It says they grew to maturity and joined me in my study of various void-born Numenera. For a while we were happy. Lowers its eyes. Then I discovered a melted humanoid figurine. I did no more than glance at its folded arms before it opened its eyes. That is the last thing I remember. I awoke with the arms you see now. Snurf sighs. My children, thinking I had disowned them, disowned me, and my people were even less merciful. I'm sorry that happened to you, but it's interesting that you are here now. Your sympathy is appreciated, but not warranted, the visitant says, though it is avoiding your eyes. I have found other ways to take my mind off the loss of my family and my people since. It was only when I began visiting other worlds that I learned that most species do not reproduce by severing their limbs, Snurf says, shaking its head. The discovery fascinated me, and so I began cataloguing the various methods of procreation found throughout the void. It was only when I found my way to Sega's Cliffs by the way of the Bloom that I was offered a place to work here, in the Order of Truth, and there you have it, the visitant says, folding its mechanical arms. What's the device you're working on? A minor project of mine, it says, with all a self-depreciating wave. Something to widen the boundaries of my research. It scans for unknown reproductive processes and displays them for further study. The device clicks to itself. Ah, Snurf says. Watch. Oh my god. It's a porn crawler. A transparent image of two goat-headed humanoids appears over the device. At first it seems they are wrestling each other. After a moment, you realize your mistake. Copulating magger, Snurf says. Fascinating. The visitant begins taking careful angular notes in an unfamiliar language on the scroll beside the device. Scan thoughts. There's quite a lot of motion involved, isn't there? You're gonna be rich. Yeah. Yeah, we're interested in the sort of notes, because we're a nano and we're just like that. Sort of notes. Simply my first observations of the methods on display, the visitant says. Positioning, the setting, of course. The creature utters a bleating shriek. And results, the visitant adds, making another note. Oh my god. Tell me about one of these reproductive processes you find so fascinating. Color rails, though they are brutal creatures formed from organic and inorganic substances, they do share certain characteristics with my people. They do not have genders and reproduce by expelling an organic mass deep into moist, fertile soil. The mass eventually grows into an autonomous being. Scanthor's the effect it has on nearby sentient life forms is truly fascinating for the survivors, anyway. You ever make it with a Nevergin? Asks Tibia. I think you've misunderstood, Snurf says severely. I don't engage in intercourse with the various creatures I study. I did once, Tibia continues airily, as if Snurf hadn't replied. At least, I think I did. Both of us were very drunk. Okay. Too much information, Tibia. That could be a good nickname, right? Too much information, Tibia. Ah, yeah. Some other, because, I mean, we're nano. Flesh pups or skin swimmers are particularly interesting. If somewhat gruesome, the tiny parent painlessly invites a host organism who does not notice the parasite until a painful rigid swelling appears on their torso or neck. If the host is drained of nutrients, the boil bursts, releasing a glistening flood of newborn pups. Oh, how interesting. Rin, I wasn't old enough to hear about any of that. Rin moans, covering her ears. And I never want to be. Oh, we can torture our friends with that. Well, one more. And then Xeomarche, also called rot blooms, fell their prey with venomous stingers and plant their fertilized eggs directly into the corpse. In little more than a week, their children are born, thrusting up through the decaying, yielding flesh like flowers in bloom. Kalstig will be here much longer, dear. Daylight is waning, after all. I apologize, is the topic making you uncomfortable? Don't be ridiculous, Kalstig says. It's simply that I despise lectures without visual aids. Oh, then we'll go for another one. If you want to push me from doing something else, I'm not gonna do it. Tell me some other reproductive processes you find fascinating. The human method is particularly fascinating and intricate. Involves trails of... Oh, I beg your pardon. Please still go on. Really? The visitant says, surprised. Is this your first time hearing about human sexual reproduction? Assume it is. Go on. I'm listening. Gladly, the visitant says, human sexual reproduction at the simplest level requires genetic material from all of the partners, which can range from 2 to 29. Ah. At the beginning of the ritual, the partners often remove their clothes, masks, and expensive shoes to reveal their flesh to the other members and any watching deities. Pardon me, but are you alright? I'm listening. Go on. Of course, as I was saying, once the clothing and accessories have been successfully discarded, intercourse can begin. With a mighty cry, the dominant participant exposes their abdomen, and all other members of the coital cluster prepare themselves for supreme pleasure. The visitant frowns. I have inadequate information on the next portion, but I am told that penetration occurs. My subjects were somewhat vague on what was penetrating what. At any rate, once all the partners are satisfied, they conclude the sex act with a firm handshake. Snuff leans in. Between the two of us, I believe that most of that information was fabricated as a joke at my expense. Fortunately, I've been invited to observe a human mating ritual next week. I look forward to adjusting my data. Scan thoughts. I wonder if I am expected to wear expensive shoes as well. I shall make a note to ask. Next week, Tiberius says, perking up. I'm going to that one too. I'll keep an eye out for you. He hesitates and grins. Unless I'm blindfolded, of course. You'll have to find some other way to let me know you're there. I shall endeavor to do so, the visitant says politely, making a note on its pad. You're not talking about a tap on the shoulder, are you? Tap anywhere works for me, Tiberius says cheerfully. Visitant makes an additional careful note. Is there something else you wish to discuss? Do you still have some other processes? I must decline at the moment. In truth, I find all of them fascinating. We could be here all day. Okay. We'll stop. One of the foremen is trying to transfer energy into its children, but they keep dying. Do you think you can help? Absolutely, the visitant says, then pauses. I must regretfully ask for a small payment of 50 shins to cover my expenses. However, I'm a guest here and not an Eon priest. The city does not fund my research. 50 shins. Actually, never mind. What a shame, the visitant says, looking away. Yeah, I mean, he's an expert, but maybe we can find out ourselves. Finding a new method. Farewell, and we should go back to the foreman to find out. Maybe his helper can help us. I mean, 50 shins. We only have such a number of shins, and we'll still have to fly out of the city. We don't want to give an alien 50 shins so he can go to a nightclub. I know we've foolishly spent shins before, but maybe this is something that we could do ourselves as a nano, and so we're inclined to try to make it so. So let's talk to the carer of the foreman, and then maybe to the other people in the Order of Truth if we don't come further through this. There's Tarnish. He's hiding there. Wait, we'll have to go for the distance and then... Hey there, Mr. Tarnish. The elderly man stares vacantly at a distant wall, muttering under his breath. His hands flex on the air, twisting and tweaking, as if he's repairing a machine only he can see. He jumps when you draw in a breath to speak. Yes, what? He says, his eyes rove past you, halt, and return to focus on your face with some effort. Ain't you a quiet one, he says cheerfully. The underforeman makes more noise than you. We should hang chimes from your ears to keep you from surprising people. What do you need? What's a foreman in your mind? Well, they are, he says, flapping his hand about the cavernous foundry. The constructs, they are frozen in their tracks, but they run this place together. What do you do here? I take care of my master, he says simply, the underforeman. There used to be more of us when he was making things, but when he lost interest, the master foreman, he jerks a yellowed thumb at the construct at the center of the chamber. Hire them all, offer them more. Aha. Tarnish spits on the ground. Happened a while back, but I don't forget a slight. I thought he's a good foreman, maybe the best, if he didn't have this fool idea in his head. How do you feel about your master's goal? It's a fine thing to want children, he says, blinking rapidly. Wish I had them myself. Too late now, of course. No ladies knocking down my door, he cackles. Of course, when people have children, it doesn't come at the cost of their lives, most of the time. And that life doesn't belong to a creature that's older than oceans. It's a shame and a waste. But he wants what he wants. He always has. Doesn't mean I won't miss him. So I thought, what will I do if he goes? I know it's selfish, but... Perception. The assistant's smile is fond and brief. It doesn't reach his eyes, though. So will he try sabotaging us? Why don't you want your master to succeed again? It's a lovely goal. Don't think it's worth his life, though. Okay. How long have you worked with a foreman? Couldn't say, he says, his brow furrows. On my first day, I'd already met my wife, but she was still married to, what's his name? The fish hooked her too, and I hadn't lost a finger and grown back yet, so... Appears at the seeding mouth working 70 years, give or take. I should retire, but there'll be no one left to mind him if I left. So I thought, what would I do with myself anyway? Why do you keep calling your master a he? I've worked for him a long time. Guess I stopped seeing him as a thing and more like a him. He shrugs. All of us have our little ways. Even him, Tarnish says. How can I give the foreman's life to its children? Tarnish says, his eyes dart to yours, searching. He sighs heavily. I know you're trying to do good, he says, so I'll tell you what I know, like he wants. But I wish you'd leave this alone. He clasps your shoulder, speaking into your ear in a low whisper. He's right that killing himself is the only way. His body ain't the problem. It's something in the ways his makers made his mind and spirit. Keeps reclaiming the energy he gives the children. Scan thoughts, maybe it ain't my place to keep him from what he wants. Damn waste, though. Now, releasing all the energy at once is possible, but it ain't easy. You might try talking to the Order of Truth. Before you get started, might be they have some extra tools that'll help you on your way. Some tools? That sounds better. So, we're up again to find some tools. And there we go. Back to the Order. Technology is beautiful, isn't it?
Fair enough.
Hey, Min. More about this. Something else? No? Okay, tools. Tools. We have Salimeri here. We still have to go for Peerless Infestation to do that. Maybe this guy can help us. Lan Uring. He's working near Snurf, so maybe they are connected. The thin young man smiles hesitantly as you approach. You notice a small metallic ovoid protruding from his skull, nearly hidden by his disheveled hair. The fingers of his left hand tap nervously on his leg as he speaks. I'm not a real priest yet, he blurts, then blushes. If that's what you're thinking, or usually visitors only talk to me because they think I'm a priest, but I'm still a novice. He plucks a threadbare spot on his robes. What's that implant on your forehead? It's not just on my forehead, he says. Just the skin, I mean, it's bonded with my skull. Blinks at you a few times before he realizes he hasn't answered your question. Keeps me awake and alert. I don't get tired until it runs out of power. And what powers this strange thing? Coffee? Dreams, he says, the scarier ones the better. Scan thoughts, I can't remember the last time I had a good dream, actually. I'm sure it's just coincidence, though. What's your area of study? Nightmares? What? He says, blinking, straightening. You want to know what I'm working on? Are you sure? Absolutely. I am designing an intelligence, he says, but not the normal kind. No, just metal or the dependent intelligence rigging system. No, it's larger than that, stronger. Lan himself seems to be getting stronger, rising as he speaks. You hadn't noticed before, but he's actually taller than you. The idea is this, an intelligence that can find, test, identify, and fully understand Numenera. You can unlock the secrets of lost civilizations. His eyes are gleaming now, and he raises a trembling fist. Do you understand? If we do this, we can break the chains binding us to the past, and turn them into reins with which we steer the future. Oh man, you should become a politician. I can't help noticing that your plan is long on rhetoric and short on specifics. Yeah, I mean, maybe we're a critical scientist here. I have a plan, he says defensively, dropping his righteous fist, but it will take more time and money. The fervent gleam slowly fades from his eyes. It's only a theory, though, for now. I don't have the funding, not yet, but I've been studying machines with Min when he can spare the time, and he likes my ideas, even if he thinks they're impossible. Looks away. I think he's disappointed I'm not a real Ian priest yet. Scan thoughts, I should have the money by now. I was told they'd keep paying me, even after the first time. Don't you want to be the one? Oh yes, he breathes, that would change everything. Only full Ian priests have access to the Order's funds. I can use them to build a full prototype. Min might protest, but he'll understand once I get the design right. He licks his lips. They're dry, almost leathery. I just need to get it right, that's all. What do you need to do to become an Ian priest? To make a major discovery, he says. A mystery that's remained unsolved for a long time. But I've spent too much time on my own research. He looks down at his feet. I haven't gotten anywhere. We could help you cheat if you help us with a foreman. I'll tell you something I've discovered. You can claim it as your own and become an Ian priest. You will, he says, blood draining from his face. Is that allowed? No, but who cares? You still win. I suppose, he says, looking doubtful. All right, what discoveries have you made? Do you know about the Sticha and the damage they've done to the city? Everyone does, he says, sagging, but thank you for trying. What sort of discoveries will help you then? Really major ones, he says, looking frustrated. The causes of long-standing problems in the city, for example, or solving a mystery that's remained unexplained for a long, long time. But I can tell you who was killing people in the underbelly, and how. No, he says, alarmed. I mean, that's not the kind of discovery the Order's looking for. They're more interested in ancient mysteries, artifacts. He licks his lips nervously. Okay, when I find something useful, I'll let you know. Farewell for now, and also to you. We'll explore this in the next episode. Maybe we can help a robot get children. Have a good time until next time, and happy gaming.